This episode of the Grand Rising Show was brought to you by Autochthonous Assembly, where the real work gets done. Autochthonous Assembly is a gathering of the minds that do the work. Now, for many of our first-time subscribers and first-time visitors, you may be wondering who Autochthonous Assembly are. You can find this information about our mission statement and our core values on the website at autochthonousassembly.com/about. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising up Indigenous American voices by using genealogy, also known as family history, or your family tree, which is the study of families and the tracing of their lineages and history. Genealogists use oral interviews, historical records, genetic analysis, and other records to obtain information about a family and to demonstrate kinship and pedigrees of its members. Our core values are the foundation of our company, which is essential to our success and serve as a lens through which we evaluate every business decision. Those core values are, but are not limited to, integrity, which is knowing and doing what is right; respect, which is treating others the way you want to be treated; responsibility, which is embracing opportunities to contribute; and servant leadership, which is serving the common good. Now, at Autochthonous Assembly, we have a couple of goals here. And our first goal and foremost of the reason why we do everything that we do is to ensure that we help you do your genealogy and connect back to your tribe and find out where you are from. Everything that we do from the standpoint of the Grand Rising Show and all the information that's posted on the website is dedicated to that one specific purpose: helping you find your genealogy, find your relatives, find your family so that you will know exactly who you are. And if you choose to, tie back into your tribe, whether that tribe is a Native American tribe, an American Indian tribe, whether it's allowing you to determine which house in Africa that you belong to, or what clan of Scandinavia or Europe or France that you belong to. Either way, our goal is to do just that: help you find out who you are so you know exactly where to start. We are not here to tell you who you are, and we're not here to tell you who you are not. We're just here to help you discover your beginnings. Another one of our missions is to help you become financially independent so that you can help your generations for the next 7 generations and be able to put a stable foundation for you and your relatives. And if you should choose to use this information that we provide free of charge to help not only yourself, but your community and your tribe, then we will do everything in our power to make sure that gets done as well. And remember, our goal here is to make sure that we help you get exposed to this information to put you in the best situation possible. So now what I'm going to do now is return it back over to the panel to see if there was anything I missed, and I will go ahead and get set up so we can get ready and get digging into this information. Panel, take it away.
Warning, warning, warning. Hard hats, pickaxe, shovels, boots required.
What didn't happen?
Grand Rising, everyone. Grand Rising. Hope everyone is doing well. This Friday is finally Friday. No sellout. Today's Friday.
It's been Friday. What you talking about?
No.
TMH?
No.
It's
no.
Friday.
No. It's today's Friday. The other 4 days were 1st through 4th. Never mind. I'm gonna confuse myself.
Yep, it's Friday every day. That's why it's real easy to do. It's like the Humpty Dance. Peace, y'all. Grand Rising, everybody.
Oh, I have my oh yeah. So I want to say Grand Rising and welcome to the new subscribers. Glad you took the time out to subscribe to the channel and see what we're about. Hopefully we meet and or exceed your expectations, because we know that there are many places you could have been, but you chose to be here with us. And peace and shout out to the Autochthonous Assembly Silent Majority. What you about to say, Bones? I mean, no sellout, sorry.
No, I was just getting to the top of the list, ready to read the roll call. Just waiting for you. By the way, Bones isn't here yet, guys. Don't let TMH be TMH on you. Everybody Bones.
Everybody Bones. Busy Bones. Lazy Bones. Crazy Bones.
You watch Galactica too many times. Everybody the same thing.
Like I was saying. Oh,
yeah, Galactica, you were saying.
Peace and Grand Rising to the Autochthonous Assembly A2 Silent Majority. You're the reason why we have the numbers that we have. You're the ones putting in the work behind the scenes and taking this information and fact checking and back checking, sending us emails, letting us know, hey, it's not right, or hey, that needs to be corrected, or hey, did you ever think about this? So we definitely want to thank you. Your voice is not ignored. And to the best chat on planet Earth. Salute. Grand Rising. Peace.
Peace to the chat.
So, y'all know what it is. So you want to go ahead and do the salutations? I mean the salutations. I'm trying to end the show already.
Peace, y'all.
Roll call.
What's going on? Grand Rising Oak Cliff. Grand Rising Copper Chopper 803. Peace, TMH. Oak Cliff again. Macadon 1. Grand Rising. Peace to Celestial Love. Lady J. HTTR Joe 47. I guess. P Parker. Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Where we at? Who else we got? Golden Moon, aka KD. Peace. Grand Rising. LJ Free. Peace Free. All going to, who else? Where we at? Enrique. Grand Rising. Slow going. All right, and I think that's it, man. That's everybody in the chat right now. We'll say peace and give our salutations to you, I guess, as you show up. You know TMH gonna read it. I come off mute. I got to go back on mute because you already saying what I'm saying. In the middle of your own sentence. Like, so the Maghrib was a piece of Joe 47. It's like, damn, can I say that? Please, can I do that one? Let me do that one.
Fine.
It's all right. No, I'm joking. Stealing all the greetings.
I'm just trying to make sure we greet everybody, man. That's all. So I'm just trying to do what I do. Just trying to do my job.
My job.
Trying to do my job. That's all. It's Friday. See.
It's Friday, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's officially Friday. So, what did we learn yesterday? What did we learn?
Sum it up.
We learned that these fruit companies are more than just fruit companies.
Some of that laundry business.
Yeah. They got a little pop and some kick with them.
Man.
I mean, you know, they working with the CIA to replace sitting leaders in El Salvador and taking over railroads, and I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we have, you know, hopefully when we was reading this yesterday, everyone had an opportunity to see exactly what the process is to replacing the indigenous people or the natives or the, in this case, American Indians on the continent. Come in, you bankrupt them. Then after you bankrupt them, you come in and save the day, right?
Hmm.
Then after you come in and save the day, now the banks and some of the businesses now have inroads and they own a lot of the property, which allows them to build their infrastructure. And then after the infrastructure is built and the businesses are up and running and fully functional and profitable, they start flooding the area with foreigners or immigrants. In the case of Honduras, you had them bringing in what they call it, good English speaking Jamaicans or Jamaicans.
Mm-hmm.
And they put them, not only did they have them working, but they gave them the best positions and they gave them a supervisory role. And it caused tensions.
Just, of course.
Right.
Like they didn't know. Okay. They had to have known something.
And then to top it off, you got other countries witnessing this, and they're like, "Oh, we don't want none of that. So we're gonna do what we can to keep that from happening." So you know, they try to ensure their borders or make sure that it doesn't spill over into what's going on with their country. And sometimes, you know, they try to throw a coup in the way, and then all of a sudden, you got a naval ship parked outside the coast. And then there's a mandatory meeting and everybody got to sign a treaty. They just pulled up the principal's office to your coastline.
Exactly. Just pulled it up. Like, hold on. We the floating supervisor for this one right here. We the floating principal's office.
You know,
literally float.
There's a mandatory meeting on deck. Literally.
Literally. It's all panning out. What's going on?
You know, there's some hand spanking, some hand smacking.
Mm-hmm.
People getting deported to the United States, removed. All of a sudden, you got on Thursday, Enrique's the leader. Come back on Friday, Frederico's the leader. Be like, what happened?
Exactly.
How'd that happen? Where was the vote? Oh, he gone. He ain't coming back no more. You be all right.
I know I didn't miss no work now. When did y'all have it? I showed up every day. I was supposed to be here.
Then they implement their own U.S. style government. Then all of a sudden, there's peace. There's 5 nations of peace around. Then all of a sudden, they just rinse and repeat. You know,
their laundry business.
And that's how they do it. And it's just interesting and sad to see how companies are used nowadays, but it was the same tactic that was used in the colonial days. They were still companies. They was just less mechanized. And now, you know, they had to build forts. Now they just pull a fort up at the coast, at the dock.
So this is my fort right here. Try to sink it.
Report to the principal's office. Exactly. So, yeah. So that's basically the recap. So today we're going to be going over Argentina. Yeah, we're going to be covering that. But before we do that, we're going to, you know, punch this clock.
Yeah.
So everybody with a ratchet. What?
None. No ratchet. Everybody with a ratchet.
Everybody with a ratchet. You know what to do. Hand out the equipment, hard hats, shoulder pads, shin guards. Can you imagine?
Well, we upgraded. We got a whole bunch of different equipment every week.
Can you imagine somebody walking around on a construction site with some shoulder pads on, some shoulder pads?
Like, wait a minute. What is really going on at this construction site? You do not understand. All right? Stuff is falling. We need shoulder pads.
Exactly.
Too many surprises.
All right. So it's time to punch that clock. Give me a moment. LJ Free says, "Is this a work site or a football game?"
Both.
So in the famous words of No Sellout, what just happened? I just got here.
I just got on the call. What happened?
Just got on the call. What happened?
Grand Rising, y'all.
Grand Rising, y'all. So what we doing? Yes, and that's both with an F, or you can use a PH. It don't matter.
However you want.
So hold on, let me let me go ahead and add this link. For
Cliff said none of it fits in this cab. Well, this
we got the extended cab. Get it?
Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to say, use your imagination for how big the cab is. If all of us in here, you got that clown cab. No clowns allowed though.
No clowns allowed.
No clowns allowed.
Oak Cliff says it needs its own cab. We have a fleet of cabs. We have a fleet of cabs. Oak Cliff.
And bad drivers. Don't worry.
Hey,
I'm just saying. People keep saying stop in the middle of the highway. I don't know.
Oh man.
A bit dangerous.
Is it? But is it though?
Nah, yeah, it's information. I don't think it's dangerous.
LJ Free says, no clowns. No.
Yeah.
I think that means so far.
We've had our experience with clowns.
So I'll put the link in the chat for further review. So the chat and the Autonomous Assembly A2 silent majority can go over the information and send us some updates, corrections, additions, or what have you. So you have the link? No sellout. What do you need me to read? Don't do that.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to read now if you're joking. Let me get this link. Was you drinking something?
No, you caught me on the inhale.
Okay. You talking about the history of Argentina? I got that. I do have that. I'm sorry. I thought I didn't.
Yeah.
Peace to the chat. Grand Rising. Two. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Wow. Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Just making sure y'all can hear me. History of Argentina. Everybody got the link? Click the link. Grand Rising. Peace, y'all. Let's see here. The history of Argentina can be divided into four main parts. The pre-Columbian time or early history up to the 16th century. The colonial period, 1530 to 1810. The period of nation building, 1810 to 1880. And the history of modern Argentina from around 1880.
Okay.
Prehistory. What? Yep. No.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Prehistory. Prehistory in the present territory of Argentina began with the first human settlements on the southern tip of Patagonia around 13,000 years ago. Written history began with the arrival of Spanish chroniclers in the expedition of Juan Diaz de Solis in 1516 to the Rio de la Plata, which marks the beginning of Spanish occupation of this region.
Stop.
You see that year though, right? Spanish occupation in 1516.
Grand Rising, Indigenous American Leo. And I only did that because No Sellout was reading.
Durant, Grand Rising. He didn't get a shout out either. You know, I saw that earlier. You was talking.
I'm about to say the basketball players on. You said I was like, KD up in here.
Durant, exactly, Durant.
Oh, I said Durant. My bad.
Nah, that would have been dope. We can get him over here. No, he might be African. No, okay. Okay, no, sorry. I'm going on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. So we see that the history is broken down and they said into four main parts. And let me share my screen so y'all can see what I see. Maybe I'll be able to see it better than I see it. Un momento, por favor. All right. So it says it can be divided. It can be divided into 4 parts: pre-Columbian time or early history, up into the 16th century. Notice they don't tell you how far before the 16th century. The colonial period, which is from 1530 to 1810, which is also interesting because we are still in the colonial period. But anyway, the period of nation building, which they're trying to insinuate that there were no nations before the colonial period. And then it says, and the history of modern Argentina from around 1880. So they're already setting the narrative, or as I would call, setting the stage or prepping the table, so you will know what to expect. So then it goes on to talk about prehistory. And, you know, I've always have an appreciation for individuals that understand languages and how languages are broken down. Because, you know, they give me a very different viewpoint to look at something. So basically, prehistory basically means before they got here and messed everything up. Before their story, before they put the Lectio Defacilio on top of it and started, you know, putting themselves into the story. So that's what basically prehistory is, means before we started lying to y'all. Not really, but really. So it says the first human settlements on the southern tip of Patagonia around 13,000 years ago. Okay, but so check this out. But written history began with the arrival of the Spaniards. We know who they are, the Iberians, because there's really no such thing as Spanish. The Iberians chroniclers, in the addition of Juan Diaz de Solis. So if they killed all of the Indians, no one knew what the language was. How can they tell us when the people of Patagonia got here in the 13,000 years ago? Huh? Grand Rising New Division. Grand Rising Copper Pride. Can somebody explain it to me? So I'm gonna say it again. If the Indians either died off or disappeared, the colonizers didn't understand their language, right? And there was no written history until the Iberians got there, the Berbers got there. How do they know about the history of the people of Patagonia? Knowing that they came around 13,000 years ago. So, just pay attention to the timelines. So they say they got there around 1516 in Rio de la Plata, which marks the beginning of Spanish occupation of the region. But we know in some instances there was already a French presence, right? Just a thought.
Definitely.
So you can go ahead and read, sir, please. Thank you.
All right. In 1776, the Spanish crown established the viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, an umbrella of territories from which, with the Revolution of May 1810, began a process of gradual formation of several independent states, including one called the United Provinces of Rio de la Plata. With the Declaration of Independence on July 9th, 1816, and the military defeat of the Spanish Empire in 1824, a federal state was formed in 1853 to 1861, known today as the Republic of Argentina.
Stop, please.
Yep. Right.
1776, Spanish crowns established the Viceroyalty of Rio de la Plata. What else happened in 1776, relatives?
Somebody tell me. It's on a whole bunch of Virginia license plates nowadays. Somebody.
Basically, what it boiled down to is that you had Declaration of Independence, and you had the French and the Ottoman Empire vouching for the independence of the 13 colonies. So at the same time, or in the same year, the Spanish crown has established a viceroyalty. Now remember, according to what we had read in their story, France convinced Spain to help in the efforts of independence. So you had the French, the Spanish, 13 colonies fighting what was now Great Britain in 1776. Now, while they're fighting, while the Spanish are helping them fight, they're also establishing their own viceroyalty of De La Plata. And obviously, this took place for some time. Because as you can see, they ended up having umbrella territories from which the Revolution of May 1810 began to get in process of gradual formation of several independent states. So they had enough manpower to help fight a war and continue to build in the lower part of the Americas. I don't know. Something just seems a little bit off about that. Maybe it's me. And then within what, less than 30 years, within 30 years, the United Province of Rio de la Plata, they declared their independence on July 9th, 1816, and they defeat the Spanish Empire. Come on, man. Then in 1824, the federal state is formed in 1853 through 1861, known today as the Republic of Argentina. So that's when the Republic of Argentina became independent, in air quotes, so to speak, sort of kind of, but not really, from the Spanish Empire or the Spanish Crown. Copper process, 1776 Declaration of Independence. It's all going on around the same time. Yeah, it would appear that way. So I just wanted to point that out because that just seems, I don't know. Yeah, it just seems a little off.
Yeah.
Because when you're trying to establish something and you have different houses ruling, if you're not in the process of building, why would you? If you're in the process of building, why would you take away from what you're doing to help somebody that might not be helping you down the road? Just a thought. So. Let's scroll down to pre-Columbia era, and you can go ahead and read. Please, sir.
All right. The area now known as Argentina was relatively sparsely populated until the period of European colonization. The earliest traces of human life are dated from the Paleolithic period, and there are further signs in the Mesolithic and Neolithic. However, large areas of the interior and Piedmont were apparently depopulated during an extensive dry period between 4000 and 2000 BC.
Stop.
I shall.
Rewind. It says the earliest traces of human life are dated from the Paleolithic period, and there are further signs of the Mesolithic and Neolithic. However, larger areas of the interior of the Piedmont were apparently depopulated during an extensive dry period between 4000 and 2000 BC. So I guess they got this information after the fact, meaning they're using scientific terms to determine how they derived at their information of what happened. And then they say it was relatively sparsely populated until the period of European colonization. So what is it? What does sparsely populated mean? So are you saying there were a handful of people? What were there? 3 people there? 4 people? I mean, 6 people? 600? 6,000? What does sparsely populated mean? And why would you have such a group of, I guess for lack of better terms, nomads there when everywhere else it was heavily populated? Am I missing something? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So let's go ahead and read the next paragraph.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Hold up. Nah, I just went. I went landscape mode on him. What just happened? That's quick. Come on, man. All right, here we go. Hold up. There we go. All right, the Uruguayan archaeologist Raul Camba Soler divided the indigenous peoples in Argentina into three main groups: basic hunters and food gatherers without development of pottery, advanced gatherers and hunters, and basic farmers with pottery. Yeah, that was it. Hold on, wait. So that group, three groups? Three main groups: basic hunters and food gatherers without development of pottery, advanced gatherers and hunters, and basic farmers with pottery. The second group could be found in the Pampas and south of Patagonia, and the third one included the Charrua, I don't know, and Minuane and Guarani, and the Guarani.
Okay, stop for a second. Stop for a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, you good. You good.
So they divided the indigenous peoples in Argentina into three main groups. Okay, so we have the Pampas, the Patagonia, and the Charrua, and Midway and Guarani. Hold on. Is that 3 or 5? Is my math off?
Let's look at them again. Because you see I had to reread. Because the three groups looked like 4 at first, and then it looked like 2, and then I ended up reading 3. So I don't know.
So they broke them into 3 groups. They just, yeah, okay, never mind. So they broke them into 3 groups. They didn't say it was.
The math.
Dude, it says do math. So they broke them up. They broke them up into 3 groups. That doesn't mean they just had 3 different tribes. My bad. I misread. So let's see who these Pampas. Why does it look like Pampers?
Oh wow! Why was it like? Yeah, it does. But I was typing the same thing Free was typing. What's up, Free?
Put this in the chat. Y'all are just bad.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not math. It's bad. Me and Free was on the same page at the same time.
The Pampas from the Quechua, meaning plain, are fertile South American lowlands cover more than 750 kilometers or 289,577 square miles to include the Argentine province of Buenos Aires. Okay, are they a people or is it a location? Hold on, did I miss something? No, this is an area. So why did they? Hold on, did I miss something?
You gotta help me out because I don't. I'm lost.
Okay, maybe I'm misreading. It says into 3 main groups: basic hunters, food gatherers without development of pottery, advanced gatherers and hunters, and basic farmers with pottery. The second group could be found in the it said it could be found. These are places where they could be found.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's definitely Friday.
You checked out before we started. Hold up, we still here, y'all.
Yeah, we still here. I mean, let's see. Look and see if we can find out Cholula. There we go. Yay. Grand Rising, Alton Clay. Grand Rising Tribe. The Cholula are an Amerindian indigenous people or indigenous nation of the southern cone in present-day Uruguay and the adjacent areas in Argentina, Entre Rios and Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul. They were a semi-nomadic people who sustained themselves mainly through hunting and gathering. Since resources were not permanent in every region, they would constantly be on the move. Rain, drought, and other environmental factors determined their movement. For this reason, they are often called nómadas estacionales, which means seasonal nomads. So I guess they were your Indians that move with the food.
Move it around. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Move with the food.
So those are your Charuda. You said move with the food.
Well, you said it. I disagree with you.
I just got it. Wow.
I just joined the call. Grand Rising, everybody.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Yeah. Did we do the roll call? No. Anyway.
I'm new here. What time is it?
Now we got the hold on the Minuane. See all them syllables. The Minuane. I also put this in the chat for further review. The Minuane were one of the native nations of Uruguay, Argentina, specifically in the province of Entre Rios in Brazil, specifically in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. Their territory was along the Paraná and Uruguay rivers in one source. They are fully identified with the Guaynoas, being actually considered the same tribe. So their territory was Paraná and the Uruguay rivers. Let's see what we got. They were related to the other tribes in the area like the Charuda and the Guaynoa currently. No one claims Minuane ancestry in Uruguay, excuse me. Why did I say Uganda? The tribe seems to be extinct in its full blood form. Wow. However, some studies show that Minuane ancestry is present in some Argentinian people living in Entre Rios. How is that possible? Or what am I missing? Doodle Vision says they're Mexican, West Africans, aka Bantu hunter-gatherers. Okay, that's cool. That explains it. Thanks, Doodle. He says everybody but Europeans are hunter-gatherers in their book. Well, if you think about it, Europeans are hunters. They hunt on other people's land. They gather their resources.
Yep.
They rest and repeat.
Technically, they might want to go ahead and take on that because they're probably OGs at it. I don't know.
LJ Free says, well, that explains a lot. In 1583, the conquistador Juan de Caret was killed in battle against the Minuane nation. The Battle del Yi, occurred in 1702 in the Banda Oriental. There 2,000 Guaranis, Misioneros, and Spanish killed 300 Minoes, Charudas, and Yaros, and captured 500 more. After 1730, together with the Charudas, they attacked the Spanish invaders in Montevideo in an effort to recover their lands. In two campaigns in 1749 and 1750, the governor of Santa Fe, Francisco Antonio de Vera y Mojica, invaded Minuane territory and massacred them in today's city of Victoria in Entre Rios. Many survivors were captured and translated to the province of Santa Fe, forming a reserve in Cayasta. So hold on, it says many survivors were captured and translated to the province of Santa Fe, forming a reserve in Cayasta. So that means they were moved, right? If I'm reading that right. So how about, but follow the thought, people. It said up here. Hold on, where we at?
Follow me now if you want to get on.
It says, no one claims Minuane ancestry in Uruguay. I guess because they moved them onto that one place. And then it says, the tribe seems to have been extinct in its full blood form. How is that the case when right down here in less than a paragraph it tells you?
Less than a paragraph. How many sentences is it? I want to know now.
What does?
And is it the same source?
What does this?
Are those separate sources?
What does this read? What is this? Many survivors were captured. Hold on. It didn't say two survivors. It didn't say two male survivors or two female survivors or what have you. Where they couldn't reproduce. It said many survivors were captured and translated to the province of Santa Fe, forming a reserve in Cayasta. So how is it you're telling us in a paragraph above that they seem to be extinct in its full blood form. Then it goes, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
How is that?
I don't see a break in sources either.
Grand Rising, James. Can you help a brother out? Cause I'm confused with the R. Cause this makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Cause that's it. Grand Rising, James. Appreciate you, bro, for coming on and helping straighten this out. Cause I'm flabbergasted. And don't ask me to spell it either.
I want to say greetings to everyone in the chat, everyone on the panel as well. I only have one word to describe this before I go in a little bit, and that is goal. They y'all didn't know. That was my man Andres Cantor, who's Argentinian. Now, you see how they do, right? Everybody's gone. This was just bare land. No one was here because thousands of years before the European got here, everybody just disappeared. There was a famine, but then there's no influx of any other group, these foreign group of people going into any other land, except one other continent that we'll talk about probably a little bit later down the line. And we know who they are because they tell you who they are. Now, here's the one thing, this is gonna make some people mad. The one thing that linear atheists never factor in when they're talking about science. How can all these people have disappeared? Again, how you making babies with people that are dead, and how you transporting people that have disappeared, that have vanished? Are we living in a science fiction movie? What is it, Star Trek? In Search of Spock? What's going on here? The one thing that they never factor in is the blood type. I will always go back to the blood type. How is it that all of these, the native people that they're talking about that are native there, Indians there, still living in Argentina, not the foreigners that came in, not the colonizers that came in, but the original indigenous people, the original Indians, the Indios, have O blood type. So from the jump, they are lying, and they've been doing that. And you're gonna find, because how is it that they say Christopher Columb gets to the islands and they're full of people, but then you get to the mainland and nobody's there? Come on, son. Come on, son. And think about what Argentina is. When did this drought take place in that region? They're lying. I yield the mic. Go ahead. Read.
Wait, stop.
He screamed it without screaming it too.
So before you yield the mic, for real, James, can you tell us why you know so much about blood and what your background is when it comes to blood, so people don't think you're pseudo? I mean, hate to.
Well,
yes.
I know it's been said that this doesn't really matter to some people that have never done it, but I actually have a medical background. I was a medic in the United States Army. So I know about blood types. I know about the spinning of the blood to find out what's wrong with you. Everybody came to see me to get doing sick call when you were hanging out too late on Sunday and decide, I can't make formation on Monday. So I was the people that you had to come and see. So I know about blood and blood type. So we had to experiment on each other. And always, if you're gonna stick somebody, make sure their bevel is up. I yield the mic.
Phlebotomy.
Too many syllables. Sound like a new car.
You get that phlebotomy. Appreciate you, James.
So where we at?
Service.
Yeah. So really.
And I know some people probably don't believe me, but afterwards, I will ask. Well, you all already know that, but I'll put all of my certifications and all that stuff for you all, but not for public display, because I know some individuals will try to jack your identity because they want you to post all your private information, your PII, to them to prove who you are. But yes, I was a medic in the United States military, so we had to go to medical school. I went to Fort Sam Houston
What Sam?
Academy of Health and Science.
And science, huh?
Oh my goodness! Wait a minute. So no, I ain't even gonna get no. Never mind.
No, go ahead.
Some people like to argue without credentials about your credentials as if they have credentials. I just don't understand.
Isn't that where you get credit from? I'm saying. So James, quickly, if you don't mind. So, can blood type tell you where, like, what your, I guess for lack of a better term, where area you come from, or
ancestors maybe?
Not so much as ancestors, but like if you got, blood, if you're from the islands, if you're people from the islands, or if you're from over here.
Oh, you mean blood type?
Type. Does your blood type do that, James?
Yes, sir, without a doubt, because you'll find that the majority, and here's where they're gonna get in trouble, because you'll find out the majority of your East Asians have B blood type, but they keep tying them in to Native Americans over here. But these Native Americans, except for the ashy feet, they do not have B blood type. If you're A blood type, you are primarily from the islands. You could have O because of a mixture. There's one group of people that stick out like a sore thumb that have O blood type, and you're like, where did this come from? And this would be your Dubs. O blood type, you will find the majority in your southern states, or what we call the United States of America, all throughout Mesoamerica, and all throughout South America. That is dealing with the Indians that they call the Indios, not dealing with the foreigners. So Indios, blood type. And that's why these so-called wannabe pseudoscience, and I use the word pseudo in its proper context, these pseudoscientists, they don't want to talk about blood. But again, you can't use any type of blood on anybody. I'm O, so I can only take O, but I can give to everybody. They don't want to talk about that. You can splice genes. You cannot splice blood. I yield the mic.
Man, I had another question. I can't remember what it was.
What the haplogroups? The DNA?
Don't do that.
The alleles. Just look up some documentaries on.
Don't do that.
Hey, Kato.
No. So basically, individuals of O blood type are South America and the southern states. They're normally your American Indians. And your A blood types are typically people from the islands. And you have some O's that are Dubs, and for those of you who know what those are, those are your Dub Gales, your swarthy or black Vikings.
Yes, sir. And that's why it gets back to, in a nutshell, as we've been talking about before, all of your Latin lands, which is south of the Mason-Dixie line, are O, and you get to the islands, they are A. But in the mainland, it is O. And that's why I keep saying we know who we are. We're figuring out who we are. And the majority of us are still lost. But those of us that know who we are, that come and participate in the chat and on the website, we know who we are. And don't let them fool you. Please do not let them fool you. That's why they keep talking about all this. Oh, we double back in the P1A1 and 97 said hut, all the rest of that stuff. You let them fool you if you want to. But I'm telling you, you cannot splice and double back on the blood. Life of the flesh is in the blood. Period. Always has been, always will be, because the blood ties you back to genealogy. Period.
Grand Rising, Little Yo. Sorry, James. I mean, cut you off.
No, you fine. Go ahead and just give a shout out to everybody out to get a chance to speak with. But I want to say this though, right quick. Yes, I know you heard talk about Kevin Durant earlier versus Durant. You know, Kevin Durant is West African. The BDBs. I yield the mic.
Yeah. See, you ain't telling him to stop because I said it under my breath.
Wait, James,
Yeah.
stop. Wait.
Should have a brush on the sideline.
So let me ask this question: Do South Africans, West Africans, do they have a blood type? Because I guess it would be safe to, I guess for lack of a better term, assume that the North Africans, they would have a European blood type if they're considered recessive. So do the South Africans or West Africans, do they have a specific blood type, or is it so mixed that it would be varied, if I may ask?
There is a mixture, but the majority of your South Africans, when you get into Botswana, Namibia, in that region, are O. Again, They will tell you they were brought there by bearded white men with blue eyes. They didn't originate there. Majority of your West Africans have B blood type.
Hold on,
Kevin
wait a
Durant,
minute. Wait a
Kenyan.
minute. You said West Africans have B blood type?
B as in boy. The majority of them have B as in boy. How you able to separate the two? Those that have O, somewhere down the line, they were brought there in several different waves. They either went there or they were brought there. They didn't originate there. B, if they're O, as we know, and they again, people leave that out, we know that on multiple occasions, Indians went into Africa. And like I said, we have not only the documented proof on this side, we have the documented proof on that side, and we have the religion and the language to back up the society. The majority of your West Africans speak Vai. If they don't speak some form of Bantu, which is Dutch, they speak Vai, which is from the Americas. And that's documented. They still speak it today. I yield the mic.
Okay.
Wow. So you're just handing out daggers for people to fall on. I got it.
And for those that was asking, B blood type is East Asian. Is that correct, James? East Asians normally have a predominant B blood type, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So West Africans that have a B blood type, that means somewhere down the line, East Asians came in and mixed with them, or they came from East Asia, or there was some form of mix. Is that what I'm going to understand?
That is correct. And again, when they say that Africa has the most diverse types of people, groups of people, and I beg to differ because the Americas do now. But let's just go what they said with Africa. It's not so much that people went from there, because you will still find the original. You find the different groups of people because people came to Africa. We already discovered that the Dutch came, the French came, and then with the British only took over the colonies that the Germans had, or the Dutch, because English or Dutch. Even when you look at it linguistically, and the reason why I know about linguistics, because my grandmother was an English professor and my mother was a teacher. So again, we couldn't use the word ain't. They didn't put ain't in the dictionary until after my grandmother had transitioned. So we couldn't use even the word ain't. But any linguist will tell you what languages and where it came from. So linguistically, when you're talking about, oh, they speaking this language in South Africa, they speaking this language in West Africa, it's German. And English is what? A Germanic language. Don't let them fool you. I yield the mic.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. So one last, well, I ain't gonna say one last question because that would not be the truth. Because every time you say you yield the mic, you left like 50 million jewels on the table. With that being said, there have been a couple of videos out recently about Indios and where it came from. And there was one YouTube video that basically says that we never called ourselves, meaning American Indians, we never called ourselves Indios. Would you do me a favor and be so kind as to break down why that is not the truth and why we did call ourselves Indios and who called us Indios, if that makes sense?
Indios still goes back to where, and I know I'm not trying to turn this into a religious thing, but gets back to Genesis, Genie, Jin. It is all dealing with what is translated as the children or the people of God. And I don't want somebody to don't send me any messages talking about, oh, that's a German name. I'm giving you a Germanic name because 95 to 98% of us speak English. So I'm giving you the terminology in English. But Indios, they still use it to this day. So you're telling me they'll tell you what tribe they're from, what clan they're from, and the whole nine. But when describing it as Indios, now, even when you go down, since we're in South America, what is that mountain range called? It's called the Andes. Oh, which is Indios. Uh-oh. I'm sorry for those that are saying that we did not. Yes, we did. I know they don't want to hear it, but yes, we did. And that is how the word was spread. And that is why even when you go into East India today, because some of those people were from here, a mixture from here. Even looking at their temples and their descriptions. And someone put in there from the Khmer was dealing with Angkor Wat, was dealing with Cambodia and all of that region there. And when you get into India, we will call the Nagas. So when you look up the Nagas, you will find us. And people say, oh, no, that's not the case. Look up their Indian deities and you will find he or she sitting what we call crisscross applesauce today, to be politically correct. But what was it called back then? Sitting
Indian style.
As Q-Tip says, to recite this hymn. So sitting Indian style to recite this hymn. So they are sitting Indian style, holding corn, or they're holding a pineapple. Now, find out for me where corn, aka maize, maize, and where pineapples originate. And all of them will tell you, they said, what happened to the people that were here that you see on the temple? They said, oh, they all died or we ran them off. But you'll find out again later that they came back somewhere. And I'll talk about that, or we can talk about that probably at a later time. But yes, all over the world, you will find Nigas, Nagas, still dealing with the same people, the wise ones, the Indios. That is why India is called India today. Because when they went and saw the temples and the tombs, it was people from over here that were on the walls over there. I yield the mic.
So, one more question. You done messed me up. Appreciate the information. Andes, Indios, same thing. Peace pipe, crack pipe, same thing. So, is there where can we go, or where can someone go to find that information about Indios and us calling ourselves Indios? Is there any place we can go research that, pull it out, so we can have these people stop basically lying on our own people when they don't even take the time to go talk to chiefs and things of that nature? Is there somewhere we can go get this information about Indios?
Oh, no doubt about it, orally. And I never come on here and I don't promote my channel, but I put a clip on my channel when they were asking, the interviewer was asking about is there prejudice, against the Maya down in Mesoamerica? And they have a saying, if you look up no sise indios, it's N-O, like no, See, it said S-E-A-S, and then Indios. And you go anywhere. You can, matter of fact, you can just go out west part of the United States and say that phrase. Or you tell them, I am Indios. If you say, I am Indios to any elder in Mesoamerica, or going into West Texas, all the way out to California, and they will start talking to you differently. They'll look you up and down, and they'll start talking to you differently. So, but I'm gonna post some links. I'm gonna put them in the back chat, and you all can share them at your leisure to find out the origin. This is why, again, all these places that you start to find, it was called Guinea this, New Guinea that, Guinea this, Ghana that. All these different places is where we were. The Jin, the original ones, the Guinea, which is the symbol again of the turkey. The turkey originally was called the Guinea. I yield the mic.
One more. Okay, so hopefully that will stop the bantering back and forth about Indios and what it means, because I think it's... Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. Somebody's in the chat says, Alden Clay says, what about Guinness?
Alex Guinness or Guinness the beer?
I think they mean Guinness the beer. I don't know. Alton Clay, what do you mean when you say, what about Guinness? He just says it's black. Okay, anyway.
Yes, that is correct. Well, you have Guinness. I thought they were like just talking about Alex Guinness or the Guinness Book of World Records or Guinness the beer, but the origin is still Indios, gin. Guinness is, you'll find a lot of people that are named Gwen. They're not, well, first name, yes, where you get the Gwendolyn and all that stuff in Gwendolyn, but the last name of Gwen, that's spelled just like that first part of Guinness, still gets back to the original people. Still gets back. And they can say whatever they want to say. They can continue to make these arguments, but it's still those that are the children of God, because they have been kissed by the Son. S-U-N, not S-O-N, because we're not dealing with that funny stuff. Whatever you do, you do. But don't bring it to me publicly. I yield the mic.
Okay, so y'all heard it here. Proof is not a problem over here. So with that being said, no, Sal, do you know who at?
Yeah. No, I think I might. I don't know. I might have closed it out too, because I thought we was about to go. No, I'm joking. It's right here.
You at the major ethnic groups? I think we're the major ethnic group because
Guarani was the last thing I did. Yeah. You're right.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate you, James. Peace to the chat. 212. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, thank you.
What's up, Garfield? The major ethnic groups included the Onis and at Tierra del Fuego, Yamana at the archipelago between the Beagle Channel and the Cape Horn. What? Wait a minute. This is too many commas. The major ethnic groups included the Onas at Tierra del Fuego, Yamana at the archipelago between the Beagle Channel and Cape Horn, Tehuelche in the Patagonia, many peoples at the literal help me out, TMH. What is that? What?
You want me man. You want to know what it says, or you want to know how I say it? Just because there's a difference. I can tell you how I say it. I don't know if that's what it says. I would say Gue Kurudes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Gue Kurudes.
Gue Kurudes.
Gue Kurudes.
Okay. and which is at Chaco. Ah, that's an easy one. Chaco. Where the ice cream man at? All right. The Guarani had expanded across large areas of South America, but settled in the northeastern provinces of Argentina. The Toba, Comlec nation and the Diaguita, which included the Calchaquí and the Quilmes, lived in the north, and the Comanchingons, or Comechingones, I don't know, in what is today the province of Cordoba. The Charuda, which included the Minuane, Yados, Bohan, and Chanatimbu, were people located in the actual territory of Entre Rios and the Quirandi and Buenos Aires.
You can keep reading the last part of the paragraph. Sorry.
No, it's okay. In the late 15th century, the native tribes of the Quebrada de Humahuaca were conquered by the Inca Empire under Topa Inca Yupanqui to secure the supply of metals such as silver, zinc, and copper. The Incan domination of the area lasted for about half a century and ended with the arrival of the Spanish in 1536.
You can stop there right quick.
All right.
So
labels.
Yeah, they get you. Glad you read them, not me. No, I'm just playing.
See, I try to bring you in there.
Yeah. To have us both sound like a bad backup stuff. we doing bad backup singing. It's just horrible. Just got their mic off.
They can lip sync it.
So by the 15th century, they said the native tribes of Quebrada de Humahuaca were conquered by the Inca Empire and under Topa Inca Yupanqui to secure the supply of metals such as silver, zinc, and copper. That's interesting. Is it me, and maybe Jan should, bring some corrections, because why would tribes be conquering each other for precious metals when all they did was, again, I could be wrong, they didn't use them to trade for anything, did they? Why would they be conquering each other for silver, zinc, and copper? That sounds like something that colonizers would do.
It was all throughout the land because it was traded. That area has silver, which is the Latin name or Ladino name for Argentina. That was silver. Up in the north part of North America and in Canada was copper and iron, bog iron.
Back up, James. You said something that I don't think people heard. What was the Ladino name for silver again?
Argentine, which is the same thing, or Argentina, because it's the land, the beautiful land, because land to us is feminine because it brings forth life. So that word is Ladino. Don't let them fool you, because you're gonna find it's gonna be like, oh, well, it's French, but it came from this, and then it came from Italy, and then it came from that, and then it gets back to origin unknown. So when they do stuff like that origin unknown, just program yourself. You don't have to believe it. Try it, and you'll find out somewhere down the line, even the name of these tribes that they're mentioning. One of the tribes that was mentioned, and you'll find out in that area as well, but you know where it grows. Now I'm gonna show you how this goes, where it grows primarily. The tribe is named after them because they were the ones that rolled the cigars for the tobacco. So you're gonna find all these different types of names of vegetation, which some people never talk about. They never talk about agriculture. They never talk about horticulture. They don't talk about any of it. They don't talk about anything dealing with culture. They just talk about science. So you're gonna find out all these names about tobacco, Tabasco, all these different things, these that to smoke and spices and herbs and all that stuff. That is what they were named after because that's what they did. Go ahead. I don't mean to take away. Go ahead and keep reading. Read.
No, bro, that was cool. I really appreciate it because at the end of the day, one of the things that we talked about was who named these people, who named this area. So the fact that the name Argentina, Grand Rising David Corey, the name Argentina means silver, or from Argentine, which means silver, that speaks volumes. So, of course, they called it that, but they called it that because of the silver, so that would make sense. Now, of course, the natives wouldn't call it that, or the Incas, they wouldn't call it. But now we know what Argentina means. At least now I know what it means. So I just thought that was interesting. Side note, sidebar. So yeah, so definitely appreciate that. All right. So no sellout. You finished that part. So let's go to our Spanish colonial era, and we know, there's no such thing as Spanish. They are Berbers from the Iberian Peninsula, because Hispaniola is a Latin word from the Romans that means what? Iberian Peninsula. And when Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand took over in 1502, they changed it from Hispaniola to Spain. So the original name that we have thus far is Iberian Peninsula. So these are your Berbers. So no sellout. Are you able to read this paragraph?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Okay, my bad. Trying to get in there. Look, because I might mess these Spanish words up. I gotta, man.
I'll be your backup singer. We gonna do bad together. How about that? Go ahead.
All right, good. Europeans, I got that one right. See, Europeans first arrived in the region with the 1502 Portuguese voyage of Goncalo Coelho and Amerigo Vespucci. Around 1512, João de Lisboa and Esteval, there we go, de Fraus, I don't know what that is, discovered the Rio de la Plata in present-day Argentina, explored its estuary, and contacting the Charrúa people, and bringing the first news of the quote-unquote people of the mountains, the Inca Empire, obtained from the local natives. They also traveled as far south as the Gulf of San Matias at 42 degrees south on the northern shores of Patagonia. The Spanish, led by Juan Diaz Solis, visited the territory which is now Argentina in 1516. In 1536, Pedro de Mendoza established a small settlement at the modern location of Buenos Aires, which was abandoned in 1541.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I just don't like that word discovered. Like, we didn't already talk to history with a date, and they just gonna just use that word. Like, what kind of writers are these people? I'm just saying.
I mean, discover. I mean, are they discarding the fact that somebody just with all of us
right?
there, and we just gonna cover it up? That's the
let's
word.
Put
discover.
Some more disses out there. Yeah, let's put some more disses out there. So that's what it's about.
Let's just discard that they were already here, and we just gonna cover it up. So that's how we're gonna come up with discover. That's a TMHism. Don't worry about that.
Look, it's a nice way to land grab, I guess. When you discover something.
Snatching. They just being vicious with it.
Hmm.
So, James, this Inca Empire, and forgive me for getting my history confused. Wasn't there like two sets of Inca empires, if I'm not mistaken? And if so, is this the second set or the first set?
Those that the colonists ran into were your second set.
Okay.
Because the first, well, the second set were those that came back. That makes sense.
Okay.
The first set, all of them didn't leave because it's always gonna be because I don't want anyone to think that it's this because it's only Europeans talking about. Oh, the land was barren. There was a group that was forced to leave because I don't want to romanticize anything. They were not doing right.
Okay.
And they were sent across the Pacific into Asia. And this group later on came back. Does anyone, if you get an opportunity to go into Argentina, go into Brazil, you will see these structures. And when you see the structures, you're just like, wait a minute, this doesn't, they tore down some of the original structures and just stacked on top of it. And the best analogy that I can give, if you've seen Croatia, they used the rubble from all those wars to make their roads, while the roads are all bumpy, while the structures look like a little kid drew them. It's the same way when you're down there in Argentina. The very same way, because they destroyed it because they were mad. It's like when you gotta kick your mama kicks your brother out, and then your brother comes back a few years later mad and does like Gator and hawks the TV and everything else. So same thing, nothing has changed. And the Reverend gotta shoot him. In case y'all don't know, go check that movie out. How you on the mic?
Wait. Why did you do that? Okay.
Grand rising, everyone.
Grand rising, Bones. Bones.
Peace, Bones. Yeah. No, don't worry,
Yep.
Bones. You were here earlier. You got your name called.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, you know, I did a TMH.
I was just about to say that he did a TMH. TMH pulled a TMH on himself.
Shout out to Bones and them.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
If y'all didn't know, that covers everybody.
Well, we got
Everybody's
great news. So,
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was like, look, y'all, see, when Bones ain't around, it's because he working. When No Sellout ain't around, it's because he working. When anybody that's normally on the panel not around, it's because they working. So yeah, no slackers
That's
over
right.
here. Proof is not a problem. So pop off. Anyway, yeah, Bones will be able to share that great news. After we finish reading and getting this phenomenal
at the end of
information.
the show, we'll release the info at the end. Yep.
Get this phenomenal information from Choctaw Jimmy. Can I ask you this, James? Because I know that started as a derogatory term. Does that bother you to be called Choctaw Jimmy, just out of curiosity? Because I've been calling you that, and I didn't know if you really like it or not.
No, I could. You know what? I consider it an honor.
Okay.
Because they just they didn't understand what they were calling me and why they were calling me that. But I will break down what that actually what that means, because the what I say wise men is what Europeans or foreigners would call shaman. If you're a shaman, which is to us is a human, not to be confused. Well, they did take that from the show He-Man. I have the power.
Right.
So when you're breaking down Jimmy, of course, it makes the H sound. You're dealing with me being one of those shaman. So I appreciate it. So that means that people call me that, although I don't consider myself that and never will. So you're calling me a wise one when they were trying to make it as a joke. So that's why I never corrected it. They were like, oh, you're a Choctaw Jimmy. So it just kind of stuck in their community. So, sometimes it's like Lambert, the sheep is lying. Y'all remember that cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Then when he finally realized he wasn't a sheep, he was a lion. So keep calling me that. I appreciate it. I yield the mic.
Now look, for those of you who have watched many episodes of Camp Grand Rising, I'm just now asking that question. So my bad. I told you I'm a little slow on the uptake, but once I get it, I got it. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Calling the man that all this time, and now all of a sudden now I want to clarify, make sure it's okay. Nah, man, I'm good. I'm finished chastising myself.
Got people around here talking about why that sheep bit me.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. I didn't know sheep ate sheep. I'm just saying. Never mind. Never mind. Yep. All right. So we are at paragraph where it reads a second one was established. Are you able to read that? No sellout. I'm about to call you Bones again. No sellout. You ready to read that?
You know, I'm used to it by now. Where we at? A second one?
Yeah, it's a second.
A second one.
Step off.
A second one was established in 1580 by Juan de Garay and Cordoba in 1573 by Geronimo Luis de Cabrera. Those regions were part of the Viceroyalty of Peru, whose capital was Lima, and settlers arrived from that city. Unlike the other regions of South America, the colonization of Rio de la Plata estuary, was that right? Yeah, estuary was not influenced by any gold rush, since it lacked any precious metals to mine. The natural ports on the Rio de la Plata estuary could not be used because all shipments were meant to be made through the port of Callao, near Lima, a condition that led to contraband becoming the normal means of commerce in cities such as Asuncion, Buenos Aires, and Montevideo.
Stop.
Laundry business.
Yep.
Contraband.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So remember when James was telling us to replace the banana with coca or with cocaine? Remember that? I remember that. Y'all remember that?
I remember berries.
Yeah. So a condition that led to contraband becoming a normal means of commerce in cities such as Asuncion, Buenos Aires, and Montevideo. Oak Cliff says, told y'all. Free! Sorry.
Aggressive reading 101.
I know, right?
You're gonna learn.
But hold on. But here's a part that I have a slight, a huge problem with. It says a condition that led. What? This is not a cold, people. This is not malaria. This is not. This a condition that led to what does that mean? How does that lead to a condition of contraband? They were smuggling cocaine. That's not a condition. That's illegal. Okay. I get it. Okay. They missing some words. See what happens when you put things on the condition that it was not legal, it led to contraband becoming the normal means of commerce in cities such as Asuncion, Buenos Aires, and Montevideo. See, that's what it was. I don't have those words there. Because that's the only way that can be a condition. LJ Free says may cause side effects. That's crazy. So now all of a sudden, what year are we in?
What year is it?
Is this right? Because in the second paragraph, in the paragraph you read above it, it talks about 1573. And then it jumps out the paragraph of precious metals. And then it goes on to the next paragraph, which I can only make the assumption, which we're not supposed to do, that they're still talking about the same time frame, between the 1600s and 1776, because that's what the next paragraph talks about. So we're talking about cocaine smuggling or cocaine distribution in the 1600s, James? Am I reading this right? Am I understanding this right, or am I missing something?
You are on target, sir.
Wow. You know me. Sometimes I come late to the party, so forgive me for being behind, but cocaine in the 1600s? Contraband? I know today Friday and you ain't got no job, but today I'm gonna get you high.
I mean, that's possible. Think about it. The first opium wars was in the early 1800s.
Yeah. Again, sometimes I get stuck on timelines because you don't hear about the war on drugs until until 1980. So 1980s. You figure the 1930s, 1940s when they're being able to mail, cocaine and cyanide and all those stuffs to you because of mail orders. You had door-to-door salesmen and things of that nature. Everything came in a brown paper bag. But this is the 1600s. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm tripping.
I'm telling you, man, it runs deep. I said by the time you get to, century and a half later, you start getting into Sigmund Freud and all of them. Like, oh yeah, it's cocaine everywhere. They were getting lifted. I wouldn't advise anyone to do that. But if you do that, they come with extraordinary strength. You think about the fact you traveling all over. You need something to keep you awake. Matter of fact, before they started cracking, they used to do that even here in the States with truck drivers.
What?
Before they started cracking down on that, truck drivers.
If you go back before they processed it and started burning the leaf down with ether and other chemicals. If you take the cocoa leaf, if you study the cultures over there, they take the leaf, pop it off, and put it up under their lip. And it's the equivalent. It's an equivalent of caffeine.
Okay, I got you. You know
what I'm saying? It's a pick-me-up. That's how they use it.
That's actually the first thing I learned about coca leaf is that,
they put it
even the workers over there,
under their lip.
Exactly. They do that while they're working.
It's almost like how you see people do snuff over here. You would think that's what they're doing, but no, it's a cocoa leaf up under their lip, and the slow process of absorbing it through your skin, it's like a caffeine boost throughout the day.
Got it. So is that what replaced snuff? I mean, is that what they replaced snuff with?
Or they just
is that what they replaced the leaf with? Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's up?
No, maybe it's just another form of dipping.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Yeah, because they used to do this thing. Because like I said, I'm old enough to remember. My great grandmother used to dip, and she would dip some of that, and that's why I said, a combination whether it was tobacco or whether it was the cocoa leaf, and she would sit out there and it was nothing. She wasn't running around being crazy or any of that. But when they started melting it down and adding all this other stuff on there, that's what they wanted to do, and that's what they continue to do. And as Brother Bones said the other day about you dealing with that Tylenol, with that codeine, and you wonder why it's having adverse effects. Even dealing with the Coca-Cola, they used to put it in the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I remember
that's why Coca-Cola was so addictive.
That's why it was Coca-Cola.
Cocaine.
Coca. Original Coca-Cola. Check the recipe. You used to be able to get cocaine as a pick-me-up from what we call them pharmacies today, your drugstores back then. Soda pop. It was just like a quick pick-me-up. That's how they used man, listen. Like they put in the chat. If you go back and look at the 1900 Sears catalog,
you said Cadillac.
Why they selling heroin kits in it. You can go back and see the drugs and stuff they used to sell, how they sell baloney now in sales papers. They used to sell the paraphernalia and stuff for people to use it. It was legal.
Yeah, Lil Yo says his grandmama used to have a brick of tobacco while she worked. Man. Yeah, David Corey just said what you said. He said, I ain't never Sears used to sell heroin kits in their catalogs in the 1900s. And that's crazy. That's 1900. That's just last century.
You gotta remember, cocaine didn't get its negative appearance until recent. Cocaine and opium, they didn't get their negative. Matter of fact, they used us to help it get its negative image.
Of course.
Because they used to be like, oh, the Negroes don't give them cocaine because they become wild, uncontrollable animals when you give it to them.
Yeah, and they're raping women. Yeah, I remember that.
And this is documented. This Bobo right here.
That's the same stuff they said about cannabis, though.
Yep, cannabis. Yep.
I'm sorry, reefer.
Cannabis.
The madness.
LJ Free says, speaking of contraband, who used to play Contra back in the day? Ooh, you went nostalgic. She also says dry coffee resets your sense of smell. That's why they use it in perfume counters when you're sampling various fragrances. That's right, because I remember when I used to sell those perfumes and stuff, they used to have us take a little container with us to help the clients reset their smell. Oak Cliff says cough syrups were full of opium. Darn. Yep, everything y'all talked about. See, that's why y'all the best chat on Earth with an F. All right. So, contraband. Wow. No sellout. You ready to read the next paragraph, sir?
Nope. As a matter of factually, I will not be able to read. I'm not joking though. I can't read. I mean, I can. I'm able, but I'm not currently able to right now. Peace to the chat. Peace everybody. Thanks for listening to me ramble.
You're willing, but you're not able. Got it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
You walk over, but you're limping back.
Don't do that. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. So I'll read. The Spanish raised the status of this region by establishing a viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata in 1776. They go that year again. This viceroyalty consists of today's Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay, as well as much of the present-day Bolivia, Buenos Aires. Now holding the customs of the new political subdivisions, became a flourishing port as the revenues from the Potosi. The increasing maritime activity in terms of goods rather than precious metals, the production of cattle for the export of leather and the other products, and other political reasons made it gradually become one of the most important commercial centers of the region. So they want the cocaine that made it one of the most important commercial centers of the region. So it was a cattle.
Yeah.
It was a cows.
Man. Mm-hmm.
Don't we have cows? Don't we have cows all along the Western Plains? I mean, we didn't have cows. They killed all the cows and they took out all the buffaloes. Is that what they did? Okay.
I guess it was the same.
I don't know. Cows indigenous to America? Just asking. I know they brought pigs over here. I just wanted to bring cows too.
I know the auction is. I think that today's cattle is a hybrid. If I'm correct.
Yeah, we were just talking about this yesterday.
Jerry said, she said, blame it on the cow, shaking my head. Copper process. Pity the food.
Man, you know you got them mad cows out there. Mad cows. They banging, y'all. They banging.
Mm-hmm.
What's that you claiming, Mo? Oh, never mind.
Moo.
Boy, y'all better steer clear.
What up, Elsie?
Moving on. The viceroyalty was, however, short-lived due to the lack of internal cohesion among its many regions and lack of Spanish support. Ships from Spain became scarce. Ships from Spain became scarce again after the Spanish defeat at the Battle of Trafalgar. That gave the British maritime supremacy. The British tried to invade Buenos Aires and Montevideo in 1806 and 1807, but were defeated both times by Santiago de Liniers. Those victories, achieved without help from the mainland Spain, boosted the confidence of the city. So they beat the British without the help of the Spain. The beginning of the Peninsular War in Spain and the capture of the Spanish King Ferdinand VII created great concern all around the viceroyalty. It was thought that without a king, people in America should rule themselves. This idea led to multiple attempts to remove the local authorities at Chuquisaca, La Paz, Montevideo, and Buenos Aires, all of which were short-lived. A new successful attempt, the May Revolution of 1810, which I talked about earlier, took place when it was reported that all of Spain, with the exception of Cadiz and Leon, had been conquered. So, back up. Okay. It goes on, it says the beginning of the Peninsular War in Spain and the capture of the Spanish king of Ferdinand VII created great concern all around the viceroyalty. And it was thought that without a king, people in America should rule themselves. So when they say America, they're talking South America, right? They're not talking the United States of America.
They're talking every place where the Spanish crown had say so on the side.
Yeah, because I had to confirm it, because I'm like, what does the U.S. got to do with South America when they're not under Spanish rule at this time? The French got a hold of them. Okay, that makes sense. Let me see what's in the chat. Alright. War of Independence. Why that dude look scared? Y'all see that picture? Look at his eyes. Don't he look like somebody scared the crap out of him? And this is a portrait, so that means he had to pose like that. Okay, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. The May Revolution ousted the viceroy. Other forms of government, such as a constitutional monarchy or a regency, were briefly considered. The viceroyalty was also renamed and it normally became the United Province of the Rio de la Plata. However, the status of the different territories that had belonged to the viceroyalty changed many times during the course of the war, as some regions would remain loyal to their previous governors and others were captured or recaptured. Later, these would split into several countries. So what am I to get out of this? So it says so the status of the viceroyalty had changed many times throughout the war. Some regions would remain loyal to their previous governors and others were captured or recaptured. So at this time during this war, they had a many change, it seems like, many change of governors, aka rulerships and things of that nature. Interesting. The first military campaigns against the royalists were waged by Miguel Belgrano and Juan Jose Castillo. The Primera Junta, after expanding to become the Junta Grande, was replaced by the first Triumvirate. A second Triumvirate would replace it years later, calling for the Assembly of Year 13 that was meant to declare independence and write a constitution. However, it did not do either and replaced the Triumvirates with a single head of state office, the Supreme Director. That sounds like a dictator.
You know?
There's a whole lot going on around this time frame. So if anybody got anything they want to jump in or they need me to stop, let me know. So I'm going to keep reading till something makes sense to me, because right now all this sounds like a changing of the guard, changing of governors, changing of control, changing of power. And it goes back to what was always been said. They were just swapping leaders on different territories. By this time, Jose de San Martin arrived in Buenos Aires with other generals of the Peninsular War. They gave new strength to the Revolutionary War, which was marked by the defeat of Belgrano and Castillo and the royalist resistance of the Banda Oriental. Alvear took Montevideo, and San Martin started a military campaign that would span into the important part of the Spanish territories in America. He created the Army of the Andes, Indios in Mendoza with the people of Bernardo O'Higgins and other Chileans. He made the crossing of the Andes, Indios, and liberated Chile. With the Chilean Navy at his disposal, he moved to Peru, liberating that country as well. San Martin met Simon Bolivar at Guayaquil, and retired from action. So that was a lot that happened in that time period. So let's scroll up a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. So let's look at this Peninsula War. I'm gonna put this in the chat too, because I want to see. While I'm doing it, can somebody do me a favor and check out the Indian War that was going on at that time? So we look at the Peninsula War, and the Peninsula War was from 1807 to 1814. Somebody do me a favor and look up the Indian War that was going on simultaneously, because this is during the conflict with Napoleon. So if you find it, just post in the chat, please. So it says the Peninsula War, 1807 through 1814, was a military conflict between Napoleon's empire and Bourbon Spain. So that was the Napoleon's empire, which was a Roman empire, and the Bourbon Spain, which was another Roman empire. And it was assisted by the United Kingdom and its ally Portugal. Where's Portugal again? The Iberian Peninsula. United Kingdom, y'all know who that is, that's Britain. It says for control of the Iberian Peninsula. And during the Napoleonic War, so again, Iberian Peninsula is where? It's Spain, what's currently known today as Spain, which is basically Spain and Portugal. So you have two Roman empires, Napoleon's empire and the Bourbon Spain empire, battling for control of the Iberian Peninsula, aka Portugal and Spain. It says the war began when the French and Spanish armies invaded and occupied Portugal in 1807 and escalated in 1808 when France turned on Spain, previously its ally. The War of Peninsula lasted until the Sixth Coalition defeated Napoleon in 1814 and is regarded as one of the first wars of national liberation, significant for the emergence of large-scale guerrilla warfare. So can someone tell me what Indian War was going on between 1807 and 1814? Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
(1807), that should be Joseph Brant and part of the 7-Year War.
You said Joseph Brant and the 7-Year War. Didn't Joseph Brant go to Europe?
Yes, he did. Fact checking something real quick on the year, because I know he passed sometime in 1807, if I remember correctly.
It also gets you into the continuation of the Red Stick Wars.
You said the Red Stick Wars, James. That would be closer to South America.
Yep, and then at the same time, you had the War of 1812.
Darn. Where they getting all these people to fight these wars?
You shake my battleship.
You said Indians.
Don't forget when. When are they getting these people? When and where?
Yeah. When? Where?
Cool whip.
Wow.
Cool whip. Hold on. Okay, so let me do this so everybody can see what I see. Thanks, Bones. When you get a chance, you can chime in and let me know what you found with the research you was doing. So you can just cut me off at this. All right, so 1807. Oh yeah, Tecumseh and the Creek War and the War of 1812. By 1800, the Indian population was approximately 600,000 in the continental United States. We know that's a lot. By 1890, their population had declined to about 250,000, which basically means they wrote us out of history. In 1800, William Henry Harrison became governor of the Indiana Territory under the direction of President Thomas Jefferson, and he pursued an aggressive policy of obtaining titles to Indian land. Shawnee brothers Tecumseh and Tenskwatawa organized Tecumseh War, another pan-tribal resistance to westward settlement. Remember, pan-Indian meant they didn't want any part to do with the colonizers and thought they should all go back home. Tecumseh was in the South, attempting to recruit allies among the Creeks, Cherokees, and Choctaws. That's James people. When Harrison marched against the Indian Confederacy, defeating Tenskwatawa and his followers at the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811. The Americans hoped that the victory would end the military resistance, but Tecumseh instead chose to ally openly with the British. Now, how is he aligning with the British at this time frame when the British are supposed to be battling and being on the side of the Spanish, the Bourbon monarch? Unless he's actually sending Indians over there. Is that what I'm not understanding?
That's what's happening. All you ever have to do is when you're watching all these wars, and when they're telling you the population of the land on where these people and family and houses sit, simple mathematics will tell you these soldiers come from someplace else.
Right quick, I want to send shout outs and grand risings to Carrie Bay, Creek Runner Water, Pamela Hall, hashtag my favorite former name, Pamela Hall. Anyway, okay, sorry, go ahead, Bones.
Look at it this way. If America had a war right now, let's say this is how the war breaks out over there in the Middle East. Is America going to send all 2 million of its active troops? No. They're going to send a couple of 100,000 to meet up with a couple of million Iraqi troops or Kuwaiti troops or whoever ally over there that the U.S. military trained. Wars are fought by proxy. So you want the indigenous population fighting against each other, because the one thing that's guaranteed, once both sides get finished fighting, the indigenous numbers drop down, making it more easy for you to come in and take over power. Look at what really happens when a war goes down. One side got to get rebuilt, need new infrastructure. I wonder who's coming in and doing that. Private contractors?
Okay. I just wanted to sync up the timelines and give us something to make comparisons to. Where was that? What did I do with it? That it? Nope, that ain't it. Nope, that ain't it either. There we go.
Yeah, if I'm right, a new assembly, I think it is.
Yeah, okay, thanks, appreciate you. I'm like, where did that go? Now I'm having a no sellout moment. Shout out to no sellout. like he ain't here. The new assembly, the Congress of Tucumán, was called while San Martin was preparing the crossing of the Andes, Indios. It finally declared independence from Spain or any other foreign power. What? It said it finally declared independence from Spain or any other foreign power. So there was more than one foreign power ruling at that time? Bolivia declared
this. Remember,
go ahead.
We say Spain, but remember, Spain don't exist.
Right.
These people are ruled by different members of families that goes back to Germany. So, yeah, any given time, all it takes is one house taking power from another house. And but what you'll find out with Argentina somehow becomes German, or it is German, if you check the houses.
We talking about the princes and those leaders that were making the decisions back then before.
Yeah, back in the day. If you check the house that gave Spain its power, it's German. That's why if you look up German Argentina, it will shock you.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, LJ Free says from Spain or any other DBA, and then before that she put German Hessians were mercenaries that fought for the British DBA during the Revolutionary War. Man, so y'all be on it. Okay, it's official. Swarth Vader is in the house.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising Swarth Vader.
You're a boss. Look at that.
I thought somebody was having an asthma attack. I'm like, what the? Like, you okay?
Don't joke about that. I have to be honest.
What? Man, really? LJ Free says exactly, Bones. They're changing history digitally every day. That's why it's important to unravel and publish the truth now. Big facts, LJ Free. Big facts.
I'm gonna be putting it on that form, y'all. That's why we putting all this information on that form, so it's recorded. Ain't no more digging for it no more. Once we find it, hey, put a check in it. It's over here, y'all. Come get it.
That's right. Because that website is owned by A2. It's not owned by Google or YouTube. And not to knock any of those organizations, but that's their stuff. This information on this channel belongs to them. So for those of you who do have YouTube channels and those of you who are promoting information, please make sure you back that up on a separate drive and then download it on an external drive that is not connected to the internet at least once a week, please. Just a thought. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna read this last sentence and I'm gonna go to the next paragraph. It says Bolivia declared itself independent in 1825 and Uruguay was created in 1828 as a result of the Cisplatin War. Cisplatin. Let's see what war that is. Cisplatin. I know I'm making people that speak Spanish cringe. My apologies. I say perdóname. The Cisplatin War, also known as the Argentine-Brazilian War, or in the Argentine and Uruguayan historiography as Brazil War, was an armed conflict over an area known as Banda Oriental, or the Eastern Bank, roughly present-day Uruguay, in the 1820s between the United Province of the Rio de la Plata and the Empire of Brazil in the aftermath of the United Provinces' independence from Spain. Good grief. Led by Jose Gervasio Artigas, the region known as the Eastern Bank in the Rio de la Plata Basin revolted against Spanish rule in 1811 against the backdrop of the 1810 May Revolution in Buenos Aires. Again, where are they getting all of these people from?
Or 1812.
Oh my gosh, 1811, 1810, 1812, 1807, 1809. There's a whole bunch of people dying. Well, and all the Indians are gone by this time, but they still having babies. Anyway, as well as the regional rebellions that followed in response to Buenos Aires' pretense of primacy over other regions of the Viceroyalty. In the same context, the Portuguese Empire, remember, Portugal, Port of Gal, Germans, then headquartered in Rio de Janeiro, took measures to solidify its hold on Rio Grande do Sul and to annex the region of the former Eastern Jesuit missions. Wait, what? Hold on. Jesuits? Where they come from? Stop. Rewind. Hold on. So it says they took measures to solidify its hold on Rio Grande do Sul and to annex a region of the former Eastern Jesuit missions. Who are they?
A part of the Catholic Church that took over particular parts of land and was ruling it.
I'm not reading all that. It says they are a historic region in South America and present-day Rio de Sul, the southernmost state of Brazil. So it's the southernmost state of Brazil. Together, the present-day Missions province in Argentina and the old Missions department of Paraguay, later subdivisions into Misiones and Itapua, informed the Jesuit reductions between 1609 and 1756, and almost fully independent territory created and ruled by the Spanish Catholic Order of the Jesuits. Wow. It was famous for its resistance to enslavement and its egalitarian laws based on the Bible. The 7 missions were called San Miguel, San Angelo, San Lorenzo, Martir, San Nicolas, San Juan Bautista, San Luis Gonzaga, and San Francisco de Borja. Is that where San Francisco is named San Francisco? California? Let's check. The king
Like his last name could eventually be Baja.
I know, right? The King of Spain was the nominal ruler of these lands in the Treaty of Madrid in 1750. He gave the eastern part of the Jesuit reductions to Portugal. The 7 Jesuit missions here were to be dismantled and relocated on the Spanish western side of the Uruguay River. The Guarani people lived there, refused, which led to the Guarani War, won by Portugal and Spain, which is the Iberian Peninsula. It says the territory returned to Spain in 1777, a year after the Declaration of Independence. In the first treaty of San Ildefonso, but was definitely ceded to Portugal in the Treaty of Badajoz. It became part of Brazil when this country gained its independence from Portugal in 1822. Yeah.
But it's kind of funny that war broke out because Portugal and Spain made a deal to relocate, but the original inhabitants of where they wanted to relocate to wasn't with it. So Spain and Portugal jumped that tribe to take over that area.
The map below is based on a wide range of antique maps for the periods shown as intended to give a broad idea to the changes in the state of Argentina in the 19th century. The periods are broad and plus or minus about a decade around each date. The hatched areas are disputed or subject to change during the period. The text in this article will explain these changes. There are minor changes of territory that are not shown on the map. I don't know what I'm looking at. So there's the changes from 1816 to 2000. The changes state of Argentina. The light green area was allocated to indigenous people. The light pink area was the legal federal, and the hatched areas are subject to change during the period. The hatch. Okay, the hatch areas mean these areas. These are the hatched areas. So, light green is allocated for indigenous people. In 1816, this was the light area that was dedicated to the indigenous people. By 1820, where they land at? They got dead worse than the Indians in the United States. They have nothing. No, don't look like they have any reservations or nothing. What happened? The Argentine Civil Wars. I'm gonna read a couple paragraphs and then we're gonna start winding down because Bones has some good news to share, and I'm sure maybe James has some information that he wants to relate to us as well. So, the Argentine Civil Wars. Defeat of the Spanish was followed by a long civil war between Unitarians and Federalists about the organization of country and the role of Buenos Aires in it. Unitarians thought that Buenos Aires would lead the less developed provinces as the head of a strong centralized government. Federalists thought instead that the country should be a federation of autonomous provinces. Federation, that's what the Indians had, like the United States. During this period, the government would kidnap protesters and torture them for information. Wait, what? That's crazy. Well, I guess if you're trying to win, it's not so much though, but that. So Buenos Aires, they wanted a centralized government, and the Federalists wanted a federation, which is probably where the name Federalist came from. During this period of the United Provinces of Rio de la Plata lacked a head of state since the Unitarian defeat of the Battle of Cepeda had ended the authority of the supreme dictators in the 1819 Constitution. I think the supreme dictators came from your viceroyalty. There was a new attempt in 1826 to write a constitution leading to the designation of Bernardino. Rivadavia. So that's Bernardino Rivadavia as president of Argentina, but it was rejected by the provinces. Rivadavia resigned due to poor management at the Cisplatin War, and the 1826 Constitution was repealed. The Battle of Cepeda. So we're going to stop right here with the Argentine Civil Wars. And James, is there anything that you wanted to share with us in relations to Argentina and what's been going on this time with Honduras and El Salvador in relations to the Maya, the Incas, and the Olmecs from the standpoint of them being removed, supplanted, and a bunch of new people coming in?
You will find out. I put it in the chat earlier. I don't know if anyone had a chance to catch that. The same people that they found on a particular island or islands are the same group of people or affiliated with the same group of people you'll find in Argentina.
Say it again, please.
The same group known as, they've gone through several name changes of Arawak, Carib, and one group that I'm leaving off, we talked about earlier. The last group is a group that you will find in Argentina. That's why I put in the name of being Argentina what it means.
You said you put that in the chat? Put it back chat.
Yeah, I put it on the YouTube chat.
Oh, okay.
The same group of people, and you'll find out this is why they call this island or particular islands by this name of Puerto Rico or Rich Port. Taino. Why did they call themselves that? Means the same thing. It says Puerto Rico is rich port, but rich with what?
So was it
Taino is their word for silver.
I'm about to say, so is it rich with silver? So okay.
Silver, and they would get the gold from South America, and they would make this mixture, and then make bracelets and earrings and armbands and have it around their neck like Mr. T.
So if Rico means rich, and that's a masculine version, right? Of rich, right? Like,
Yes,
right?
sir. Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't Rica be the feminine version of rich?
That would be correct, sir.
Because I remember having a conversation. LJ Free brought this up. So if that's the case, what does America really mean then?
Well. Now we find where the rubber meets the road. Doesn't mean no Amerigo Vespucci.
So Amir, Rika is a feminine version of rich. So Amir is what? Is that a form? Is that a form of love, or like a more, or? I'm sorry. Go
When the
ahead.
moon hits your eyes like a bigger pizza pie. That's amore.
Wow. Come on.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Does
Mo.
anybody know why Argentina or who Argentina backed during World War One and World War Two?
Mm-mm.
They backed Germany.
What?
Argentina and Germany has been in ties with each other since Catherine the Great. When Catherine the Great, all of them, they were Protestants. When these Protestants started kicking out these Catholics from Russia or Prussia, what did they settle? They settled in South America. If you study South America, you will find out South America has more German immigrants than you would care to think.
Yep, and been coming there, which is World War One and World War Two. Why they went to Argentina, because their folk were there.
Remember, South America is a Nazi stronghold. Why? Because they already had ties and connections there. The culture of a lot of South American is influenced by German culture. It's a mixture. Like how James tell you about the Mexican dance looking like the polka dance and everything. Because they had a large influx of Germans. A large influx.
P. Parker says, y'all keeping me on my P's and Q's.
Yeah, over the weekend, homework assignment, look up German Argentina. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Again, German Argentina.
So that's a homework assignment for them. So that means I don't need to look it up. I don't need to deploy Keanu keys. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one for people to look up and read.
Okay.
It'll put a whole lot of things in perspective.
Yep, which is why their form of Spanish is harsh. Again, your Argentina, Venezuela, you can pick up on the accents because it's harsh. It's like a German tone or German cadence. Listen to them speak. Just look up anything dealing with Argentina or Venezuela and listen to them speak. It is that same German tone. Don't go.
Wait a minute, stop. You sound like a German James Brown.
Why?
Oh, I'm sorry, James. I couldn't help it.
That's how they sound, though. The same ones, that same group. Like I said, they keep trying to fool you about, oh, these people disappeared, and oh, these people, we don't know where they went. And the Germans will tell you without a shadow of a doubt. And they had been going back and forth. They haven't changed. They've been going back and forth. Matter of fact, so much so they were setting up shop in Argentina that Hitler had submarines in the Gulf Coast ready to attack the southern states during World War II.
Bingo.
You don't read about that in the history books.
Yeah, and Free says it makes sense. They say that's where many of the Nazi officers fled to, Argentina, after World War II.
Yeah, if you study history, you had German U-boats all off the coast of South America.
And EJ Coppertone said that's why Russia has inhabitants today that look like Siberian Asiatics, but they are Russian.
Yep.
Mm-mm-mm.
Think about it. Cuba is Russian, y'all. Don't forget. What government backed them? Who supported Cuba? Why were they considered communists?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's up. So, why do we tell you all this? Why do we present this information? What's the whole point? History is phenomenal. It's great. It's good to get it corrected. So, what can you do with it? What's the point of us even bringing this information? What's the point of Due Division telling you this stuff? What's the point of Bones breaking stuff down? What's the point of the chat even breaking this stuff down? It all gets back to this one thing. It helps you find out who you are, where you are from, when this happened, why it happened, and what you can do. Because if you don't know who was controlling what areas at what time and match those timelines up with your genealogy records, you will not be able to find your people. That's why we do this. So hopefully this will help someone unlock what's been going on, or unlock some things that they were not able to find in their family tree in South America and things of that nature. Because once you know who was in control, now you know what archives to go look in. If you know if it was under Spanish rule, you know to go to the Spanish archives, or for lack of a better term, Iberian archives. If you know that it was under French rule, then you know to go to those archives. That's why we do this. So you can tie that information into your family tree, get the information out, move forward, and get closer to find out who your people are, what they call themselves, and then if you so choose, well, say it 3 times fast, tie back into your tribe, your house, your clan, or whatever family relatives that you want to tie into. So that's the reason why we do this.
Don't let nobody tell you there's no records. The French been keeping records since the 1100s. They've been recording birth certificates, births and deaths and marriages since the 1300s. Again, they started keeping them in the 1100s. They was recording births, deaths, and marriages since the 1300s. There are records. Don't let nobody tell you no different. If there wasn't, how do these people know how they tie back in? There are records.
Yep. So. James, anything that you wanted to add? Or is there anything that I've made a mistake on that needs to be corrected?
No mistakes. That's what I said. The research team is phenomenal, outstanding. If y'all, and here's the deal, because I never want people to think that we are plotting like some people have accused us of trying to set people up. I have not had an opportunity, as most of us, y'all know, Brother Bones came in the middle of the show. We haven't had an opportunity to talk. So it's not like we're sitting there, oh, we're going to only bring this out, or oh, we're only going to bring that out. And if we do collectively come together with something, it is organic. It flows within the chat. There's no, oh, no, this and that. So anyone that's trying to think that somebody's trying to plot, and the reason why I say this is because there's a particular individual, not going to say his name, but when he says, all those guys over there are claiming to be Indians, they're Russians. They're Russians, they're doing Russian intel and the Russians, and they're backing the guys in the White House because they're Russians. The reason being, these Russians, again, they have record. Again, as Brother Bones talking about those French, those Persians, the Germans, they're all the same folk. They know who we are. So those same ones that are claiming to saying that we're Russian, oh, they're Russians, but they are so pro-black everything, and they don't tell you that the Russians also back the Black Panther Party financially.
Bingo.
Whoa. The Russians
yes, they
black.
did.
How do you think a bunch of college students who had no jobs were able to provide free lunches and breakfast for kiddos? They wasn't
Who
stealing
policy was that in? Who policy? Who
guns.
believed that type of policy? That's a Russian policy. What they would tell you, a communist policy. Socialism, looking out for everybody, looking out for the less fortunate.
Man, I thought this was gonna be a regular Friday.
Who was able? The Black Panther was able to go over to meet with the Korean leaders. Why? See, this is the part of history that they keep away from you. Why did Huey P. get there and go talk to Korean leaders? Why, y'all?
Oh, snap.
Who you think was backing them? These same communists, these people that they labeled, were backing them.
Because what the sucker MCs don't tell you is, and they keep talking about, oh, the people came from there and settled in, and all of your Native Americans and the whole nine. It was a coming back over, and I'm going to prove it. Brother Bones had already mentioned earlier why they keep talking about these mammoths, and all they did with a mammoth was take an elephant and put fur on it and try to tell you, oh, it was a mammoth, and that's what it is. But you got paintings, and you can tell little kids drew it. It wasn't an adult that drew that. Little kids playing paintings in the caves that they found even here in Texas of them riding on these elephants. And again, as he broke it down, when elephants, they go back home to die, which is why do you find, what are the most oil that you find in the United States anywhere? Oklahoma and Texas. Part two, the camel, which is the cousin of the llama. Llama, he's supposed to be dead.
Indigenous
Camels
to the
are from
Americas.
here. South America, camels. How did camels get over there and they not over here anymore, except for the camels that they brought back to go across the deserts of West Texas and going to New Mexico and Colorado?
That was your
Camels
food source.
originated from here.
And it was an indigenous food source. It was an animal that was herded. We wasn't using cows. Our ancestors was using llamas. Check the history.
They trying to fool you. They are really trying to fool you. Like I say, deal with the, and I really hope I could get her to come on. If I could get a Cambodian, and I hate using that terminology, but that's my terminology, what they are called, to come on here. And you all know that I know one very well. And I wish that if I could get her to come on, or I get my better half to convince her to come on and have these conversations, and they'll tell you that we went there and double back, and you know them better as the Inca. Angkor Wat. They had kinky hair, just like Swarthy Pete. Ooh wee! But he was supposed to be Russian, Persian? No, not. Continue the thing with Swarthy Pete, but that's what ties in back to dealing with these so-called Russians. Swarthy Pete had kinky hair. Black Russian, more than just the drink. Them Argentines, all the same folk. Do not let them fool you. Dealing with those Germans, those influx of Germans. Look up Croatia, look up Poland, look up all the rest of them, and look at the color of their dresses that they wear. It's the same type of dresses that the Sami wear. Sami! Same style of dresses. You're gonna find out who these people really are and who you are. Taino, Silver, Puerto Rico, rich folks, Puerto the rich. Now you done figured out. So what is Costa Rica? I guess we'll talk about that later on. And who's who? Elder Barge, what? In the beat of the rhythm of the night, I'm off this cotton picking mic.
TMH, you better not ask me to say nothing.
I'm not going to ask you to say that. Bones has some information he wants to share with us.
Good.
Why you coming all harsh at me, bro?
I don't know, man.
Just coming off of mute. What happened?
Look, I was on mute and I felt the heat of the mic. I'm not doing it.
He said you bad not better not. Bad not. He made it a one syllable word. Bad not. Anyway, go ahead. My brother from another mother. My other brother from another mother. Bones.
So I'm honored to let the relatives know this rising. It was a little late because I was in the FCC meeting, but glad to let the community know Autonomous Assembly has been qualified for low frequency radio towers, so we will be coming in with radio towers. We have been approved for radio towers. Another step forward to building our communities back.
Thomas Helson, did you say radio towers, Thomas?
ACC has been approved. Well, Autonomous Assembly has been approved by the FCC for low frequency radio towers. Yes, correct.
Say that. Say that one. Cab. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic and listen. Cab, come back, Cab. I know you're Thomas. Say it again, Thomas.
Autonomous Assembly has been approved this rising for FCC radio towers. We're moving further and further to making it possible for our relatives to become self-sufficient. We say we have a problem with communications and radio and television. Well, we're bringing the mechanism so we can create our own.
Can you do me a favor and tell us the significance of that a little bit more in detail as far as what does that mean for us specifically?
Well, basically what that means now is for Autonomous Assembly in the community of the American Indians. Every place where we're at, where we set up at, we will be able to place an A2 radio tower there for the communities. So we have the ability moving forward to place radio communication towers in our communities.
Wherever we see fit.
Yes, sir. And this is for the community. This is the benefit for the whole community in your neighborhoods and communities.
What? Wait. I'm a little slow here. So, Thomas, what you're saying is you didn't use Patreon account or PayPal account to make this happen, Thomas?
No, for Autonomous Assembly used the benefits of our ancestors, the nonprofit.
Man, that's pseudo. That's pseudo. You pseudo, Cab. Unmute yourself.
Showing people again the benefits of using what our ancestors left behind. The 501c, the programs, the USDA programs, the HUD Section 3 programs. And yes, true indeed, you will run into bumps along the road, but you don't get discouraged. You document it, because for every time somebody denies us of a service that was left here for us, that's a case. And the more and more of us that get this information together, that becomes a class action case. So no matter what, my relatives, don't let no one tell you that we cannot achieve our goals. Stop letting people tell us who we are. Stop letting people tell us what we can and cannot do.
Ask a question, which is a great question. Shout out to LJ Free. She says, so we can build multiple communities and be interconnected with communications on our terms?
Yes, that's the whole purpose of it. All form of communication. So we don't have to depend on nobody else telling us our story. We can report our own stories. We can report our own news. We can let each other know of the situations of what we're facing in our communities without being blocked, without having to word it a particular way so they don't shut a stream down or cut the signal. Them days are over, my relatives. They're over.
You mean that A2 is not a pseudo group, Thomas?
Hold on.
Hold on. Wait. Back up. That is not Thomas. That's Bones. I'm Thomas.
No, I looked you up.
No,
I've
already looked you up, Thomas. I know who you are, Thomas.
No.
Come back to the mic, Cap.
No.
Unmute yourself.
No. I'm Thomas. He's Bones. Say it. Bones. Say it. Say it with your face.
That's a name.
Bounce.
Say it with your face.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Wait, there was no fleecing of the flock to get this done. Man, I'm lost.
Nope, it's just following the paperwork. Basically, by being a nonprofit, by us doing this rise and show consistently, by the relatives showing up and showing their support consistently, allowed us to be able to access this. So in return, we're not asking this. This is not being accessed for my personal benefit and no one's here. This is for everyone, our communities, all form of communication. This is a start.
I got one word for that. Okay, maybe two words. Hold on, one more. Like we said at the beginning, from the beginning, the goal is to put ourselves in a position to become self-sufficient and financially independent. We have not asked anybody for any money from a Patreon account, or PayPal me, or PayPal you, or PayPal we. We're showing you what to do, giving you an example so then you can go out and do it if you so choose. This is not a game. This is not about building debate leagues and debate teams to become financially independent so you put money in your pockets while the people are hurting and not being able to fend for themselves. This is not about people fleecing the community, selling shirts and maps and stuff, and then not providing those shirts and those maps, or scheduling multiple powwows. No powwow shows up, nobody gets any money, and then they just change the venue, and nobody still ain't got no money, and there still ain't no venue. This is not what this is about. It's about real activity, real action, and real people doing real work. And there's people out in the community that we're working with that in the backgrounds that are doing stuff too. So this is not the end. This is just the beginning. So again, when you start to understand what we're trying to accomplish, that's the reason why we cannot afford to have scammers in our midst. Because with what we're doing, we can't afford for somebody to think about this. We have access to radio towers. What would a scammer do with a radio tower? Sell the time, right? They would sell the time to the community under the guise of helping the community. That's what they would do.
They wouldn't even know how to do that. They'd just climb it like a monkey man. What is this, a jungle gym?
Again, what you do with a little speaks volumes about what you would do with a lot. So if people are creating these accounts to get paid for thousands of dollars, what do you think they would do with access to millions of dollars? Like Free says, little hinges swing big doors. Little scams hurt few people. Bigger scams can hurt millions of people. We are not giving these people access to hurt millions of our people. So I'm gonna say this again. If you are associated with scammers, do not cross my path. Do not contact me. Do not call me, text me, email me, inbox me, DM me, any of those things. Because I want nothing, absolutely nothing, to do with you or the people that you associate with that are scammers. I relinquish the mic.
So they should email you or no? No, I'm just...
Speaking of emails, Brother No Fill Out, have you received any emails contrary to anything that has been displayed on any of the shows or any of the information that's been sent out over the last few months?
No. Just from the folks in the chat needing help with genealogy and a few other things. But no contrary. No, sir.
Wow.
The phone number is up there too, just so y'all know. Since we've been live 5 days a week for I don't know how long anymore. The phone number's up there. So forget about that email. What's up with a phone call?
Wait a minute. You guys are the new kids on the block. You just got here. But what's going on? You guys haven't been here long enough to do all this stuff. I mean, you didn't try to go and they tell you that they Pan-Africanists, but they got to deal with a sweatshop in Malaysia to make some big baller brand Zion Williams mosquito skin RBG shoes? No.
Nope.
Instead of, and I know why you asked the question, why you made the statement. Instead of asking us as the new kids on the block, the newbies, the youngest, or whatever you want to call us, the question that needs to be asked is why those people that have been on YouTube for so long never partnered with you, James, and done what we're doing, because all we're doing is going off of the information that you taught us and taking your lead, and also taking the lead of Bones with his leadership from the standpoint of being in the community with Free and everybody else as part of the A2. All we did was come together, took the leadership, took what everybody gave us, and we acted on it. That's all we did. We're new. The information is not. There have been FCC towers. How long? How long has it been FCC towers, Bones? How long has it been radio?
Since they've been the FCC.
Okay.
Since they've been FCC and radio.
Okay, so this is not a new thing, you know.
Nope, it's not new.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's gonna hurt them pretty soon that Autonomous Assembly is able to send out PSAs on public broadcast television at any time. So we will be able to reach our listeners and gather new listeners that's not even on YouTube through television and radio through PSAs. We're gonna keep you posted.
So the more important question is, we are the new kids on the block. Yes, we are the the newbies. If you've been on YouTube for all these years, why did you not get up with James and learn about the USDAs and the HUD-3s? Why did you not do that? Because he's been on YouTube since there was a YouTube, and then he was on Blog Talk Radio. So that's a question that needs to be asked. That's a question people in the chat need to ask all these people that are asking or making comments about there was no such person called Indios and all this other mess. What are you doing for your community? Why don't you have FCC towers in your community or any community where you reside? Why are you not helping people today with their current living situations and their financial stability? That's a question that needs to be asked. So, with that, no sellout. It's Friday, finally. And, I know you don't want to go last, so I'm going to let you go first. Let these good people get up out of here so they can, get on with their day and impact their relatives. So what you got for us?
Man, bombs. Appreciate that background work you doing and keep doing and been doing and since been doing. James, thanks for letting the mic cool off before you said anything else. I appreciate you. TMH, thank you for opening the show up as usual. Be in the back chat waiting for us. Like somebody click that link, please. I'm in here. And to the chat, oh my goodness, 5 days a week, and sometimes on Saturdays. Next Saturday, not this Saturday, we will be having another business improvement or developing meeting. So look out for the emails and times on that. And man, enjoy y'all's weekend coming up. It's a couple more Fridays to go till next Friday, Rising Show. So we'll see y'all then. Peace, y'all.
No sellout, as always. Appreciate you. You have the best timing when it comes to funny. You're one of the funniest people I've had the pleasure of working with. Not that you go anywhere, ain't nobody going nowhere. I just want to put that out there. That's why. That's really. See what I'm talking about, y'all? See what I'm talking about? That's why the people be clamoring for you, man. So you no more vacations. No more. You got to be here every day. Sometimes Saturday.
I got an Earth Day coming up. I gotta take at least another one.
No Earth days.
No, I'll be here. I'll be here. I usually don't miss.
I'm just picking.
Yeah.
But with that being said, appreciate you, bro. Choctaw Jimmy. As always, we appreciate you, man, more than you know, more than we can express, for sharing your information, your wisdom. What do you got for the people before you head on out today and before they head on out today?
Oh, man. Oh, man. I feel like DJ Khaled up in this camp. It's another one. I wanted to say this, and I'm gonna be shorter than short. Everyone in the chat, best chat in the cosmos. Don't let anyone fool you. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. My man Billy D, Code 45. To Thomas, and Thomas. Appreciate you guys. And Thomas, you were looking clean on that suit when somebody was trying to pull you up on the website. Let's check out this website. That's Thomas. There's Thomas there at some function looking fancy, but then there's Thomas is cab, and it's Thomas that's in charge of everything. So it's Thomas, and
funny.
Thomas.
It's no sellout picture, me talking, and Tom.
Yo, look at how you get all this stuff wrong. Look at them. These ain't no Native Americans.
So hold on. So everybody's named Bones, but we all Thomas. Got it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they look like me.
We all look like no sellout.
We look like
yeah. All of our pictures look like no sellout.
Wow. Okay. Makes
You
sense.
always have your stuff on mute. You never unmute yourself.
Come back. Hold on. Beloved.
And all of you are pseudo. But I appreciate all of y'all. I really, really do. And the work that's actually going forth, as Lady Free always says, for 7 generations. And because when something is established like this, it can't take it away. You're literally making history as we speak. So I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And again, paying tribute to my main man, Andreas Cantor. Go! See you next week. I'm out.
Yeah, the mic inside, I had to let it cool off. I gotta go after him, for real. I don't want to play no more. As always, we definitely appreciate the new subscribers that come on, taking a chance on the cab. You know, sometimes the ride can be a little bumpy, it can be a little shaky, but you know, we got those 4-point harness seatbelts for a reason. And we got the extended cab for your comfort and pleasure, so you can stretch out. Yes, I said stretch with a. Anyway, I want to say shout out. Hopefully, the aɾxenઃtina Assembly A2 silent majority. Hopefully, you got a lot of information. Hopefully, this information that was put out today about Argentina and Honduras will help you unlock some of those, or help answer some of those questions in your family tree about South America. It ties back to potentially the Incas, the Mayas, and the Olmecs. So hopefully that information helps you. We know that you're sharing. We know that you're doing what you can with your communities and your tribes and your clans. So we definitely appreciate you. The best chat ever. You know what it is. Keeping us on our toes, making us laugh, making it hard for me to talk sometime when y'all put those chats in there, which I shouldn't be reading, but I do it anyway because it's addictive. But nevertheless, thank you. Appreciate y'all. You know, keep doing what y'all do. Uh, Keep us on our toes. And again, it's all about helping people with their genealogy. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. You know, anything we could do to help, just let us know. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Bones H. McCoy. Oh boy. Not a viceroy, nor a toy. Let's go.
Yo, stupid, yo.
I'd like to thank the panel, TMH, No Sellout, James, Papa Indio, Carrie Bay, LJ Free, for trusting in the vision and following their hearts with this so we can make all this possible. I would like to also thank the chat, the ones that are active every rising and the ones that tune in just to listen for the info. Because without you, this isn't possible. And everything that we get up every rising, it's for you. You meaning all of us. The American Indian is trying to find his way back home. Let's make sure that for everything that we gain, we use it to the maximum. Let's leave our mark on his story. I'm saying it correct. Let's leave our mark on his story. Let's make it so impossible for them to tell their version of their story that when they open their mouths, people question it. The tools that we need have always been here. They have spent billions of dollars to lead us away from it. We know what it is. We know how it was done. So let's take advantage of these same resources and same tools. And again, be that guy in light. For any descendant of the American Indian that's lost can always find their way back home. And on that note, it is always an honor and a pleasure to be here every rising with the relatives. No place I'd rather be. So everyone, please finish enjoying your day. Be as blissful as possible. And until the next rising show, peace.
Peace, y'all.
Unmute yourself.
Beloved, hold on.
Warning, warning, warning. Hard hats, pickaxe, boots required.